hear more about community food share and how our mutual clients can engage to get grocery delivery or any other services that you have available.
Okay, absolutely. I'm happy to share. And I know probably some of you are familiar with us already, so I'll try not to bore you with information you already know. But for those that aren't familiar, Community Food Share is the food bank that serves residents of Boulder and Broomfield counties. There is a food bank that serves every county in Colorado. There's 5 of us total. We're just, I don't know why it got broken up in this way, but we're just the little food bank that covers these 2 counties. And then the surrounding counties are covered by other food banks, which is great. So, but we really focus in on Boulder and Broomfield counties. And just to give you an idea of the scope of the work that we do, about 70% of the food that we distribute is actually to other organizations in the 2 county area. So that's really actually the bulk of the work we do is pushing food out to other organizations. So many of which you are very familiar with, family resource centers like EFA and Sister Carmen Community Center, the Boulder Shelter, meal churches that do meal programs on the weekends, after school programs at the YMCA, a variety of different organizations, and we serve 40 total agencies in our 2 county area. So that's about 70% of the work that we do. The other 30% is our own direct distribution programs. And we do that in a couple of different ways. We have a pantry that operates out of our Louisville warehouse that is open 3 days a week, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Right now, it's less of a pantry shopping experience and more of a drive-through experience, which we anticipate will certainly continue through the month of June, and hard to say how long that will go on. We do recognize that certain things are kind of going back to normal, but at the end of the day, we are a hub for a lot of organizations and people in the county, so it behooves us to be as cautious for as long as possible, because if anything happens to our operations, a lot of people are going to be impacted. So we ask that people just have patience with us as we continue to try to distribute food as safely as possible. So that is one arm of our operation, and people come from all over the 2 county area to participate in that pantry in Louisville. We also have 5 different mobile pantry locations that actually are located outside in the community. We have 3 different locations in Longmont. We have one in Boulder and one in Broomfield, and each of those locations happens twice a month. There's a great calendar on our website if you want to see more information about those locations, and there's a calendar of the dates as well. So folks are able to attend that. And then we also have a program called Elder Share, which is specifically for our 60+ population. So that's actually our longest running distribution program. Even before we had an on-site pantry or mobile pantries, we had Elder Share, and that operates also in a number of ways. There are some community sites for that. We work with a number of senior housing buildings, and then we also offer some delivery routes. So that's kind of 3 different ways that can happen. And some of that is based on income, and then others is a little bit more flexible. So we just encourage people to look at the information on our website, and we can help direct them. Most of our programs are pretty low barrier, I'll say, especially mobile pantries, and our on-site pantry is becoming more and more low barrier. Really the main qualifier that we're looking for is that folks live in Boulder, Broomfield County. So that's something to keep in mind. That's really the main thing that we're looking at. We really focus on self-declared need, so not having to prove that you need food. And that's really important to the programs that we run and to our mission, is that people don't have to jump through a bunch of extra hoops in order to get the food that they need. So that's kind of a rundown of our programs that we have. And then I wanted to put a plug in, and I can send the flyer to Zoe to send out as well. We are doing some special events over the next month. We were able to be a part of a USDA program that's happening. That threw together really fast, so we've been scrambling to get these scheduled. They're working with farmers all over the country to get contracts with the USDA to put together produce boxes and some other kinds of boxes of other types of products, but we're just getting produce right now. So we're getting quite a few of these boxes every week. So we are doing what we're calling produce pop-ups on Saturdays. So I'll definitely send that flyer out if you all want to, are interested in attending or dispersing that out to other people you might know. The one this coming Saturday is going to be in Longmont. So we're kind of doing those at various locations throughout the county area. And that's also going to be like a no barrier. You just drive up, we put the produce in your trunk type of situation. So we're excited to do those through the month of June, perhaps beyond, but the ones that we have scheduled right now are through the month of June. So that's an exciting additional thing that we're doing. And I do also want to add that I know I just listed off like a bunch of different programs and dates and times. Folks can participate in however many of these programs that they want. There's no restrictions to say, oh, you have to pick the mobile pantry and only go to the mobile pantry. You have to pick, you know, this and that. Folks can attend as many mobile pantries as they wish or as they need to meet their needs. There's flexibility there. So I want to encourage folks that some people think that they have to just pick one thing and only go there. Sometimes it takes going to multiple places to gather what you need. So we have that flexibility available. So we hope that with these various options, you know, folks will be able to meet their needs. And in terms of the foothills communities, because I didn't mention them, I mostly have focused on the Longmont, Boulder area. We do work with partner agencies that do serve the mountain communities, and those produce boxes that I mentioned, we are bringing those up to Nederland every Friday, and then that food pantry is dispersing them out to the other communities. So we haven't forgotten about the mountain communities. They are getting access to some of these great produce boxes as well. So that's a little summary of our programs. Does anyone have any questions or anything that I didn't cover?
I have a question. So, Carrie, I'm guessing you have maybe larger warehouse space, and that's why you're, you know, for your distributor role than say EFA has or some of the other organizations. Yes,
that is correct. We do have. I'm here in our building that houses our warehouse right now. We do have a nice size warehouse space, so we're able to store foods, and then partner agencies like EFA actually get deliveries from us every week, so that we kind of portion it out so that they don't run out of space.
Do you have any like numbers that would give us a sense of the volume that, like, for example, people served, or maybe pounds or tons of food delivered?
Yeah, for sure. So at our, hold on, let me pull up our numbers for our, that would have been smart for me to have up, wouldn't it? So I can tell you that at our on-site pantry in Louisville, we see, during this time, we've seen anywhere from 550 up to 700 families coming through each week. So that's pretty well attended. And then, for example, some of our Longmont mobile pantries, we'll see up to 100 families coming out for each of those. And then let me give you, okay, I'm not able to. Well, during the month of March and April, we distributed well over 1 million pounds in the month of March, which is a very significant. We've been shattering our records for the past couple months, and so we've been pushing out. We've raised limits for our partner agencies to give them more food, and we saw a pretty big spike those first couple weeks after this happened in March, at our on-site pantry, we saw probably one of our biggest weeks of all time at the pantry with how many people came through. So yes, we are seeing a pretty big spike. It has evened out a little bit more over the past month or so. We're kind of back to what I would say are more normal numbers for us. But yeah, we are distributing well over 1 million pounds a month, which is pretty mind-boggling to us. You know, our goal is usually around like 10 million pounds a year. So when you do that math, you know, over 1 million pounds a month is pretty significant. And our donations and the ability to get purchased food, we've been purchasing more food than we ever have before. So that's another big change, and which is what we've been working really hard to raise money, and that money has gone towards purchasing trucks of food. And sometimes we have been having some struggles, especially in the beginning, to get the trucks to us. The food existed, but to get it, it was just sitting in warehouses, and they couldn't get drivers to drive it out to us. So we had some issues with that. And then grocery store donations fluctuated quite a bit. A lot of the food that we distribute is rescued. During normal times, Monday through Friday, we would be rescuing about 11 tons of food a day. And so that has been fluctuating here and there, depending on, so, you know, especially when everyone ran to the grocery store in the beginning and cleared out all the shelves, that really impacted us because the stores didn't have anything to donate to us if everyone cleared out all the shelves. So there's always, you know, multiple sides to every situation, is that folks were doing what they needed to do to, you know, try to stock up, but then it also impacted our ability to distribute that out to folks who weren't able to stock up on their own. So there's been a lot of, it uncovers a lot of like ways that things are connected in the community. So it's always something, just encourages all of us to be really thoughtful about our own actions, because we don't know what kind of domino effects it's going to have. I got way off topic there, Lisa, but I hope that kind of answered your question with, you know, how much we've been doing pound-wise, for sure.
Yeah, no, that was helpful. How old is your organization?
We have been around since the early 1980s. So that time frame is when like the food bank really became a thing in the US. It kind of sprung up as a grassroots type of response to some things that were going on with the national government. And they were never meant to be a long-term solution, which is really interesting to think about. It was never meant to become like a pillar of the community, right? It was kind of sprung up as people saying, oh, there's a need, let's all come together and see what we can do to feed our neighbors. And then unfortunately, you know, in a sense, they have kind of become a permanent part of our society. So there's about, we're part of a network that's called Feeding America. And there are 200 Feeding America food banks across the country. So we are supported by a national network, which is really great. You've probably seen a lot about Feeding America in the past couple months with like celebrities making donations. Jeff Bezos, we were able to be a recipient of some of the money that Jeff Bezos donated. And that is actually our national network. So when folks donate to Feeding America, that does benefit community food share as well. So their national network focuses on national supply chain, procurement, research projects. They offer a lot of grant opportunities to the network food banks so that we can work on different kinds of really specific projects. So it's pretty neat to be part of a national network that has such like a great network of resources, especially because we are so small compared to a lot of the other food banks, you know, even compared to the food banks in Colorado. Food Bank of the Rockies is massive. You know, they cover essentially half the state and all of Wyoming. They cover a massive area, and Karen Share in the South, you know, they cover pretty large area as well. So it's great to be part of a national network. So when you see Feeding America, that is actually, you know, the network that Community Food Share and Food Bank of the Rockies and all of us are part of.
That's incredible. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all very grateful for your comprehensive programs. It's really incredible the work that you all do. And yeah, we're definitely happy to share more information about your produce pop-up events. So I'll
Awesome.
look
Thank you.
forward to that. Thank you.
You know, I guess what this really, raises awareness of just how much food insecurity there is in the country. It, if you're not feeling it, you may not be as aware of it. I mean, do you have any idea? I know that the Boulder Valley School District's meal program, breakfast and lunch um, for kids really is much larger than people would expect for a county like Boulder, which is considered, has a number of really wealthy and well-off people, but there's still a lot of hunger out there. Do you have any numbers about that? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to encourage folks, I think most people are on their computers right now. If you even want to pull it up right now, if you Google map the meal gap, it's super interesting. And honestly, Feeding America has a lot of really interesting information on this on their website. And it actually has a map of the United States. And you can click down by county if you're curious about different areas of the United States. And they're about to release their new numbers, so you'll see that it's 2018. But they're in the middle of releasing their new numbers right now. So you can look. I'm zooming in on Colorado right now. So again, this is about to change, but for Boulder County, the food insecurity rate is 9% currently. So they estimate that at about almost 29,000 people. So it's quite a lot of people. And then, Broomfield on here. And then Broomfield slightly less, but still quite a bit. So that's a really interesting map if you want to kind of get a picture for different areas of the country. And then it also breaks it out to see like who would be eligible for SNAP. That is also another interesting data that you can find is not necessarily on this one. I'll pull together that link as well if folks are interested. To see how many people are eligible for SNAP. And if folks don't know what SNAP is, that's what some people used to refer to as food stamps, but it's a supplemental nutrition assistance program. Boulder County in particular has the gap between the amount of people that are eligible for SNAP and those who are actually signed up for it is quite significant compared to the other counties surrounding us. So we have some work to do in that area as well. It's pretty interesting to see. Yeah.
Would your services pick up? Would they usually see a spike in the summer when all the school kids who get food programs through school or out of school and needing meals?
Yeah, it's interesting because that's kind of was the what I would typically have heard. And for our on-site pantry in particular, I can't speak for other organizations in the, in the two-county area. That's not actually our biggest time of year. Our numbers are actually higher the fall into the winter. And I don't necessarily have a broad explanation for that. Our particular participant base at our pantry, a lot of them travel and go stay with families, and the kids are doing different things during this summer, or might be staying with other family for childcare and that type of thing. So the needs might be covered in some different ways. But yeah, actually we don't see, like July is typically our least busy month at the pantry. But that may not be the same for other organizations.
Thanks, Carrie. I sure learned a lot today. I'm sure we all have. Thank you again so much for presenting, and thanks for being our partner.